Morning. I'm out here in the Sonoran Desert National Monument, formerly the Tabletop Mountain Wilderness area, and I'm going to take a break to talk about an anime, Moonlight Mile. Moonlight Mile is a new near-term sci-fi anime from ADV Films. They've just shipped the inaugural volume, and these are my first impressions based on those 4 episodes only. First impressions can be deceptive. The first episode comes out teasing a story on the moon. That looks really interesting, but it only lasts a minute, and then we're on to the real story back down on Earth, which for some reason is slightly less interesting, but our appetites have been appropriately whetted. We start off joining 2 buddies who have been climbing all the highest peaks on all the continents of Earth. We meet them as they're climbing the last one, Kilimanjaro.
You think you can move it along? We're losing daylight.
Bite me!
But I'd say we're still a ways off from sunset. Must be a storm coming.
Goro is a lusty Japanese man who works hard, drinks hard, parties hard, and screws hard. Lossman, also known as Jack Woodridge, is a slightly more restrained American. Now that these 2 have conquered all the highest peaks on planet Earth, they set their sights even higher, on outer space. Each takes a different approach to getting to this goal. Goro decides that the future of space exploration lies in space construction, so he turns himself into the ultimate heavy construction engineer, learning how to operate every crane, arm, and bulldozer on the planet. Lossman, on the other hand, takes a more conventional approach, opting to become a military pilot, and aims for being pilot of a space shuttle. We get scenes of each of these guys in their terrestrial jobs. Goro starts off as skyscraper construction and really high-rise stuff, and then moves on to consulting on space construction.
You okay in there, Goro?
Yeah, sure. I'm okay. Except this thing is moving too goddamn fast to do any good. I still think the loader's arm's coming over at too wide an angle.
Meanwhile, Lossman is flying missions as a Navy pilot in some ill-defined Middle Eastern conflict that seems a little bit like Iraq, perhaps.
Roger.
Rumor has it you want to pilot the space shuttle.
Yes, sir.
Well, you can tell people you want to fly to heaven and meet Jesus himself, but if you can't hack it here, you won't serve drinks on the space shuttle. You're gonna fly the Navy way. Are we clear? Crystal, sir.
Goro is the more interesting of the 2 characters, even if he is a stereotypical wild man genius. He's the nonconformist barbarian everyone has to put up with because he's just so darn good at what he does. Meanwhile, the writers are teasing us just a little bit with some story that's probably going to evolve about some intrigues involving space missions with politics. And I assume that may relate to what we saw as the initial teaser up on the moon, but so far we really have no idea what that's about. The series gives us some really beautiful artwork and animation. The crew has really sweated the details of spacecraft and space mechanics, and the scenes in space are particularly beautiful. Though I have to say that so far, none of those scenes in space have involved our 2 main characters yet.
This is Yvonne in TARDIS, moving toward the power loader.
Roger that.
Chris, feels like I'm picking you up for a big date, so wear something slutty.
I guess now would be a bad time to tell you I'm saving myself for marriage.
Also nicely done was that initial scene on the lunar surface, which I assume the story's going to come back to someday, if I don't fall asleep first. The problem is they've made this stuff so realistic that it's become boring. The story just plods along, stretching each scene out until the point where any excitement has long since vented into space, as we've already anticipated the conclusion long beforehand. It seems a shame to have spent so much time and effort on such beautiful visuals and then come up short on basic storytelling of pace and dramatic content. I was really looking forward to this release. It looked pretty good, but I think the promo actually took every exciting scene out of the series. Based on the first DVD, I can only give Moonlight Mile 2.5 stars. I have to admit I was pretty disappointed. Thanks for listening.